So, today I will show you the iron heart of the Republic. Iron heart of the Republic is of course Ostrava, because of Vítkovice quarter, where they built like an incredible amount of steel and iron. And metal, of course. So that's why they call it Iron Heart of the Republic. The area also has lots of coal, so it's good area for producing metal and iron. Back in the 810. This noise and vibrations are killing me. And by the way, this is completely new highway D1, and I will show it more a little bit later. It's like main vein in this republic, or spine of transportation in this republic. Dneska jezdí ty vlaky strašně rychle jak svině, a než to vystoupí do kohož, tak je na hadry. Let's take a look on these old trains. They have like mirror or window that you can fully open. In summer it's pretty cool to have this such a beautiful wind here. This is Ostrava and you can see the new building in front of old building. And this is a place where all German troops during World War II was assembling their force and all the manpower to fight Soviets back and fight and run for the West. So I will show you why later. We are here at Svinovské mosty, Svinov Bridge, and I will show you some very interesting stuff. Ostrava city bought a lot of electrobus, that means autobus with electric engine, and they have this thing. It's a charger for buses, and it's pretty fast because in 300 seconds it's able to recharge this electrobus for 1 hour of drive. So, it's pretty quick, right? So, there is something interesting I found out in Ostrava Svinov train station. So, over there is classical normal train station. And by the way, around all all huge train station are this fence, but of course this fence has to end somewhere, and that's the place where it ends. So if you want to get behind that fence, all you have to do is climb over it or walk all around it. And by the way, even that fence ends over there by that road, black and yellow road. It still has real gate here. It's pretty strange. And even more strange, and by the way, there's Pendolino, Czech version of best British train, or Czech Italian version of British train. So, by the way, look at that pavement here. They even put some structures so people couldn't drive on their bikes on it, but they forget they again could ride around it as again. And on that other side is the same stuff. This is pretty serious business. And little city elephant. Look at this fence, man. It looks like giant drills. Wow. Wow. So, Ostrava was like metal heart or iron heart of the Republic. And of course, they need a lot of workforce, and their workforce has to be somewhere. These people has to live somewhere. So they built these, for example, these beautiful buildings for coal miners or people who works in a steel factory. And all this neighborhood is made of this building. It's pretty stylish, right? Of course, whole Ostrava is pretty industrial city. Right now it has around 300,000 people living in there, and it's pretty interesting city to live in or just to visit it. So let's take a walk with me. So I owe you apology because I didn't tell you why the German forces need to flee west from Ostrava Svinov train station. Well, thing is, the Ostrava was like a last barrier for Third Reich. I start over again. Thing is, at the end of the World War II, I'm talking about April or March, Soviet troops, Soviet armies was in nearly in Berlin, and of course so in March or April 1945 the Soviet troops was in front of Berlin and in front of Ostrava, and of course high command of Third Reich expect that, so all people who lived there back in the 40s, they forced to work on defense infrastructure, like huge barriers, huge walls against tank and stuff. So all Ostrava was like a giant fortress, and of course War Czechoslovakia, or back then Protectorate of Bremen and Mähren, was like a giant fortress because it was an industrial area. So they fortified with the civilian population of Ostrava, and they prepared to keep the whole protectorate as a giant fortress. And there was a real plan to hold it for years. So expect the World War didn't end in 1945 but in 50s, maybe 55, just because Nazis could hold themselves in protect us behind our fortress. So I am showing you today a very special place, because this fortified Ostrava city was breached on one point, and I will show you this point today. Spectacular church. I will tell you something about Battle for Ostrava, or so-called Operace Ostrava, or Operation Ostrava. So the thing is, as I said, the city was heavily fortified, and everybody was expecting a big attack on Ostrava by Soviet forces at the end. I'm talking about March 1945. So Third Reich heavily prepared for that attack, and they give them hell for 60 days. Thing is, only thing that was breached was Tropau, that is Opava. Soviets tried to breach the Third Reich defense and separate Ostrava city from all other troops, to make that fucking, so they made Ostrava city like an island, unconnected with the rest of the Third Reich. So I will show you the point where they managed to do it, where they entered Ostrava city and literally saved the world from Nazism. It was like a last straw on camel's back. In a few moments we will walk under highway D1. That highway is like the most cursed highway in this republic, because it connects everything, like from west to east, anything. It was building like a 60 years, and everyone is cursing that highway because right now it's not sufficient. So that's the highway. The last part was built like a 07, but when they finished that building in Ostrava, whole highway was like scrambled and bridges sucked. Fucking new highway was falling apart. So we heading to the geographical center of Ostrava, but it looks around here like some countryside, man. Alright, jokes aside. Ostrava was built like in 19th or 20th century, really fast, and from connection a lot of small villages around here. So in the middle of it, it's this beautiful forest. And by the way, around huge rivers like Odra river, there should be some areas or some kind of zone where nothing is built, and should be placed parks and stuff like that, because sometimes the river overflow, have floods and stuff like that. So no damage is done, and I believe we are here really close to river, so that's the reason why it's probably nobody is building here anything. And another reason is the Ostrava is also really spread. It looks like if you step with a high boot in a shit, and that's, you get the map of Ostrava. So you like it? So this is Odra river, and they have these special constructions on it to manipulate flow of the water. And I believe they have here even some small electric power plant. Water goes in there, flows underneath, over there, and over there. It flows out. Somebody was shopping. Ostrava is a really dangerous city because they are even afraid about trees. Look at these fences or barriers around them. They are afraid because somebody might steal that tree. So look at this. We are at one of the new bridges over Odra river, and look at, they have these constructions so they can repaint them or repair these bridges. Look at that. They even have real little wheels so they can move back and forth. I really like it. But really strange thing is they keep this at place. That's something strange. That's really strange. And look at that bridge from up here. These beautiful shapes. Now it's pretty easy to walk over Odra river. I'm gonna show you this really interesting stuff, I believe. So, after communist revolution back in 1948 until 90s, well, you can, if you are a citizen of Czechoslovakia or live behind Iron Curtain, you couldn't move or you couldn't travel. So, what you do during weekends or your holidays? You build a little cottage house just like this. There were special areas around big cities or small towns where you can build these little houses and you can spend your weekend or holidays there. You have a little party, a little barbecue, fire, and have a good time. So you can spend your holidays abroad, at sea or something like that, because you don't have permission by government. So you have to spend your free time here. Thing is, right now these houses are usually object of break-in. Thieves usually break in, so they also heavily fortify it. You can see that barbed wire around this whole area, so nobody could climb over it. Thing is, nobody in the world have people something like that. The people have like cottage houses really close together, small, live together, spend time together. I believe it's really interesting. If I tried to look it on the internet, but I couldn't find it anywhere else in the world, just behind Iron Curtain. That's like Czechoslovakia or socialist specialty, right? Look at this, just little houses, they have little street just for themselves, and that's pretty beautiful. Look at this, village Koritka. They have a little parking lot. Look at this. They really take good care about it, because people don't have anything to own back then, because the government won't let you. So this is memorial of breaching Third Reich defense lines by Allied forces. I maybe said before that was Soviets, and the right on this memorial is written that it was made by Czechoslovakian forces in Red Army. These guys made it around here in this river. Probably back then was more water than now. And thing is, it was pretty late, because 30 April of 1945 was that day that Adolf Hitler made suicide, and they put red flag on Reichstag. So right that day they breached that Odra river. Thing is, since they did it under heavy fire, these guys just liberate whole Ostrava by force, and they liberate the whole republic because there wasn't any more defense lines between here and Prague or anywhere else. Fuck, it's mosquitoes everywhere, man. Fuck my life. Thing is, battle for Ostrava or Ostravská operace was like a last big battle, last for 60 days of World War II, except of course battle for Berlin, and that was the real battle that liberated the rest of Czechoslovakia. As I said, the whole town was heavily fortified, and man, I can tell you, these mosquitoes defending the city right now, even right now, man. Fuck. Before they suck me dry, man, I'm going away. I don't know how these guys managed to defend these lives with all these mosquitoes. Or maybe because it was April and not July as is today. Fuck. By the way, since then they built here a new railroad bridge. So another cottage house area where you can relax and get relief from that constant threat of nuclear war. So these are the bridges I showed you before, and real reason why Allied forces, Soviets, Czechoslovaks want to Ostrava is this and that. Yeah, they want to get to McDonald's and IKEA. So, in iron heart of Republic, they have everything. IKEA, Tart, Tripreport, even some cinema and stuff. They call it shopping park. I will show you this very interesting child playground. Well, in usual playgrounds they have like there are standard structures like these, but in Ostrava they have these beautiful cages where little children fight for their own life. They fight to survive, and of course it prepares them for their own battles during their lifetime.